All right, so the Z1 Extreme has been the go-to mobile APU for pretty much the majority of handheld devices, even more recent ones like the Ally X. It's a fantastic chip, but it is at this point roughly 1 year old, and the successor just came out. The name here is terrible. It's the Ryzen AI 9 HX370. But for gaming, what matters here is that we're going from the iGPU called the 780M in the Z1 Extreme to the new 890M. This here is a chart showing the FPS at 3 different wattages between the Z1 Extreme and this new chip for various games. And across the board, we can see a noticeable gain in performance, roughly 10 to 15, maybe even 20% gains depending on the game and the wattage. And yeah, in case you don't trust me, Reddit also agrees that the 890M is roughly 10 to 15% faster. To quantify this a bit more though, and look at some benchmarks, the Z1 Extreme, the current APU of choice for a lot of handheld gaming devices, the graphical score in 3D Mark x SPI is 2,911. That's the official graphical benchmark of this chip. And for the new APU, the same benchmark, the score is 4,084. So this does confirm that this new APU is substantially better than the last generation. In fact, I find this even more fascinating. It is now, let's just say on par, if not slightly better, than the mobile RTX 2050. I find this so intriguing because my current laptop is the HP Victus, which has the RTX 2050 GPU, and I'm on record in my review as saying that this GPU is good enough for most FPS games at high 1080p settings. Games like Battlefield, Overwatch, Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, those games can all be played on the RTX 2050 at high 1080p settings and deliver at least 90 frames per second. And that makes that level of performance kind of a benchmark in my opinion. And I'm just shocked that this new APU that's going to be found in mobile devices is now better than this. Here's actually a side-by-side test I did of my Legion Go, which has the Z1 Extreme, with my HP Victus with the RTX 2050. And the graphical score on the HP Victus was just shy of 4,000, and the Legion Go with the Z1 Extreme was 2,820. But now the next generation of a lot of these handheld devices should outperform the HP Victus and thus the RTX 2050 with a score of just over 4,000, completely closing this gap. Now, I was curious as to where the Snapdragon X Elite fits into this equation, because in a lot of ways, the Snapdragon with the ARM architecture is the future of Windows computing. But we can see here that on the same benchmark, the Snapdragon, the graphical benchmark, scored 1865, substantially lower than even the Z1 Extreme. So at least for gaming, the iGPU in the Snapdragon X Elite isn't on the same level as AMD, especially this new generation of chips. But do keep in mind that the Snapdragon, when it comes to single core CPU operations, is noticeably faster, which is kind of interesting. The Snapdragon also has a noticeable lead in efficiency, so the performance per watt is superior on the Snapdragon. But again, when it comes to the iGPU, the graphics, the story is essentially the opposite. So clearly right now for gaming, AMD x86 is the way to go, especially with this latest generation based off of the Zen 5 architecture with the 890M integrated GPU. It is a beast of a mobile chip that is now actually superior to the mobile RTX 2050. But I'm still excited for ARM-based chips like the Snapdragon because the single core performance, the efficiency is so strong. I think it'll be very easy for Snapdragon in the coming months to come out with a gaming specific version of this chip that simply has a more beefed up integrated GPU. But then be the facts, let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.